Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Gwyn, and the Insider crew.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 44. I'm here with the crew, Manny Albin, Damon Lowney, Robert Forsyth, and the man that now carries the weight of PCA on his shoulders, newly minted National President Aaron Ambrosino. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And I got to point out, since Aaron is Vu's boss, that you have
No.
You cannot be censored. You have no edit button. You can say whatever you want. So feel free. Anything you want. Vu cannot.
You have the ultimate power Manny wishes he had.
That's right.
Because
you know he edits me. I found this out. 42 episodes in, I found out that all these great lines I had were never made.
I'm surprised that it took you 42 episodes to realize that.
But you don't go back and listen to
I
yourself
do listen
talk?
to it, but I don't laugh at my own jokes. What I'm listening for is sound and
Yeah.
and whatnot, but not
Specific moments. Yeah.
Well, I will take this opportunity to encourage folks, if you're listening to us and you're enjoying what you're hearing, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, it's really important that each and every one of you, if you hit that subscribe button, try to get us closer to our goal of 100,000 subscribers. I do want to thank a few people that we always say we love to see the comments and love to see emails from folks. This username stands for something, but JHFYBCDT showed his interest in a future cruise, so we will take note of that. And then we got an email from Gurney Eagle 500 who watches us
Very cool
and
email.
listens to a very cool email. So thank you so much for dropping
I
a
like
line.
the part where he said his wife was telling him he was reaching stalker status.
And I will say it's okay. We don't consider you a stalker. You're just an avid listener. So thank you for that. So not to take the mood down, but I think we have to start with Monday night last week. The automotive world was just shaken up by the passing of Ken Block.
Yeah, Damon texted us Monday evening when he heard the news, and it took a while to process because you look at Ken Block and you look at a guy who's relatively young.
55 years young.
And much like hearing about Michael Schumacher when he not died, but was seriously injured in that skiing accident, everything that Ken Block's done with the Gymkhana, driving at Pikes Peak, and if you've ever seen the videos, if you haven't seen the videos, you got to go to YouTube and you owe it to yourself to watch the videos because this guy was a master of car control. It's amazing the skill he had. That wasn't his first career.
Yeah.
His first career was DC Shoes.
DC Shoes. And he actually got into professional driving fairly late in the game, right? He was like in his mid-30s before he started rallying, but obviously he has a natural talent and was, just kind of in the scene with Gymkhana and what I consider him as an automotive icon, right? Because he bridged the gap of all the different generations, the things that he was doing. Folks that have been in the car world for a long time are in awe of his skill, and then all these younger people that he pulled up from like the skating world or the BMX world, they're looking at him through X Games and all that stuff. Man,
We can't forget about Hoonigan.
Of course, absolutely.
He started and is now. I mean, you look at car media, especially on YouTube or on a digital platform, and
it's what all
their
of us
influence is everywhere.
Yeah, and we all aspire to have that level of influence in the automotive game. I mean, he did it, and man, it's just it's heartbreaking. I recently watched the YouTube series of him, trying to win the championship of the U.S. rally events, and the trials and tribulations of and how scary the things that you're doing in a rally, and he had significant crashes and walked away from stuff, and as you said earlier, Manny, just like other automotive icons out there, passed away doing something that's fairly mundane compared to
vacation and fun,
a vacation and having
right?
fun. It's just you can't believe that, and also followed the story of the journey of he and his daughter, Leah, 14-year-old, starting to drive, and now she's 16, just finally finished up her Audi coupe modified, crazy turbo, and you can just you see that bond there, and you're like, man, this is going to be an amazing story, and unfortunately, there's so much left to do, and he's not going to get that opportunity. Like that just.
It hit hard. It's
hit
surreal,
hard.
that's for sure.
So when we were talking about this news, I wasn't watching a football game, but you were watching
Monday
a
night
football
was
game.
Monday
crazy.
Night Football was
Monday
the
Night
Bills and the Bengals, and I was watching because depending if the Bengals won or lost affected the Ravens. How the playoffs would play out. So I was watching it, and I was watching, unfortunately, Damar Hamlin for the Bills, who was on the ground, and they were performing CPR. He had suffered what they call sudden cardiac arrest death, something very personal to me.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. When I got the text from Damon about Ken Block, and I said, "Well, you got to watch Monday Night Football. This is incredible. That this guy is teetering on life and death." And as of early this morning, I read that he is awake. He is communicating with the family. He's still on the ventilator, but things are looking very good. And the first 24 hours, like they say, is critical. And he still has a long road. I don't know if I'll ever play football again, but he can easily live a regular life again. And if you want to know the difference between a cardiac arrest and a heart attack, there's a huge difference. Go to CNN; they have a great article. A lot of people confuse the two, but they're really completely different. And additionally, if you don't know CPR, learn it.
Yep.
See if you can sign up with the Red Cross, American Heart Association. There's different organizations that either will get your office to do it. Laura told me you guys did it 3 years ago.
Yep.
Or convince your place of business to buy an AED, a defibrillator device, because I'm sure Damar did not go into the game thinking that he would be carted out in the ambulance because of a sudden cardiac arrest. So, and fortunately, that's having a happy ending. But Monday was tough. You also had Jeremy Renner.
Oh my gosh.
Played
Snow
Hawkeye in
How-
the Marvel series.
Snowcat?
He was
How
he
random
was
is that?
injured.
Yeah.
It was I'm like this is not a good Monday night.
Yeah. And bringing in the new year in some ways, it's
Yeah.
been a rough start.
Well, I mean, in light of all this, you'd really, we say this all the time, and people make fun of say YOLO, but
Yeah,
it really is.
truly.
You have one chance at this life. Make the most of it. You never know what's going to happen, and we're certainly excited about 2023, and there's a lot going on. And I'm just going to try a bit harder to have even more fun.
Is that possible after the cruise? 'Cause I don't think you were struggling really hard to have fun.
I mean, it's we've got a sizzle reel from the cruise. I'll have to share with you guys later. But yeah, I mean,
you did see your executive director in the snowman suit, right?
No, I did see that video. It did get passed around. So, yeah.
whatever it takes to make PCA
And
members
I
happy.
think that was like no alcohol involved on his part.
No,
either.
that's the thing is I am like naturally high on life. Like I don't need drugs. I don't need liquor. Like I feed off of PCA
wouldn't hurt,
members.
though.
I think it would. I think it would. And this happened Christmas Eve or something like that. My sister had some concoction that she mixed up with whiskey, and I drank it because it was delicious. But literally, I just found myself, I'm so sleepy, and it did the opposite. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm just sleepy. I don't know. Whatever you put in it just made me
Well,
sleepy."
Velcro can get a sponsor that sells edibles. Think about.
No, let's not go there. So let's talk about what we did last week. Any car stuff for you guys?
I did my normal cars and coffee. We had a good turnout, but it rained the night before, so the roads were so wet. Luckily, it washed off most of the salt, but I was lazy, and I said, you know what? I really don't want to get the Porsches dirty again, and I'll wait till a dry day, which was actually on Sunday. It was a beautiful dry day. I took the BMW Z3 to Cars and Coffee, but Sunday I decided, you know what, this is a perfect day to drive the exercise, the 964 and 914. The Boxster we drive year-round as all seasons, but the other two I tend to drive only on nice days in the wintertime. I don't like to store them. I mean, I put like the fuel conditioner, but that's about the extent of it. I always make a point of driving at least once a month, maybe every 3 weeks. Anytime it's nice weather and there's no salt.
No salt on the road.
Yeah, so I go out there. I know Aaron lives in Albany, so he doesn't have that I don't know how many nice spring-like days you get in February.
You know, what's your
January.
schedule with the cars?
Yeah, so most of the time by Thanksgiving they're put away. So, oil change, prep them to be put in storage, and they go away just before Thanksgiving. The race car will come out beginning of April, and usually end of April, beginning of May, the 911 comes out of hibernation. So, yeah.
Wow, that's a long stretch.
Yeah,
to
it is.
Look at your car and be like, I wish I could drive you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So mileage-wise, on what kind of miles do you have on your
Kind
red
of like
car?
your 914, right?
Oh, bro, wow, you had to go there. Oh, you had to go there. This is a new year, Manny. You should start the new you of not making fun of Vu and his
That was
914.
never my resolution. We did the resolution.
I made that goal for you. But your beautiful 911. What year is that? That's an 87.
Yeah, that's an 87.
Yeah, G50
It's
car.
stunning.
Yep.
It's gorgeous. It's got some what do we call it? Not camber gang, but it's lowered.
It's lowered. Yeah,
it's a low car.
we're a bit below European ride height on it. Because that used to be my track
stance. It's got a very low
yeah.
stance.
That used to
That's
be my
not
track
stance
car.
yet. You
No.
got to go
his-
lower for
yeah,
stance.
well-
His
I was going to
is
say,
pretty
no,
low.
it looks good. It doesn't look like it's slammed down or anything.
Yeah.
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 Because that was my track car when I first started to got into DE. That was what I used as a track car. So lowered some little bit of suspension work on it to make it handle a bit better. But
Can you imagine DEing that car now?
no, absolutely. Autocross, yes, I'll autocross it, but
Yeah.
DE just no.
No.
So you have that. I know you had a 987 Cayman. Do you still have that?
No, got rid of the Cayman.
rid of the
We
Cayman.
swapped that
Okay.
for a spec Boxster,
Yeah.
and then my wife's daily is a Cayenne diesel.
No, nice.
And we got that. Yeah,
They're
we
great-
got
They're
that.
great cars.
We got that
Oh,
for
yeah.
because I needed to tow the race car and the trailer.
Yeah.
So there was a little ulterior motive.
I see what you did
Yeah,
there. I see what
right?
you did there.
I bought my wife a Porsche, but-
honey, we need a diesel.
We need a Cayenne diesel.
Cayenne diesel.
But-
But she loves that thing.
That I'll tell you, that is probably the best car we've ever had.
Yeah.
Between towing, just take it to dinner,
Gobs
and
of
then
torque.
my wife and I, we do a lot of hiking, so we're out. I don't want to say the wilderness, but dirt back roads and stuff, and it just goes everywhere. And
What's
it's
your
fantastic.
average miles per gallon you getting on it?
We're right around 30.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
I mean, towing obviously less, but just highway driving,
Yeah.
we're around
I just
30.
you
love
get
the
that.
torque.
You get that too every 3 gallons, right?
Are you talking about compared to my
You
my
get 30
Cayenne?
miles for every 3 gallons.
Bro, really? New year. Yeah, my on a good day I get like 15.
Yeah,
And,
no, that
and
I mean that, and it's just a super comfortable, rides
Yeah.
really really well,
Yeah.
and again,
And it doesn't sound like a diesel.
no,
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 not
I
at
picked
all.
up Roxanne one time from the airport in the Cayenne diesel, a friend of mine's, and we're riding back to where we were meeting at, and I said, "Does it sound any different to you?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Because you're riding in a diesel." And
Yeah.
she was used to the Ford F-250
Sure.
that my brother had, and it sounded like a dump truck.
Like a,
And
Yeah.
she was like, "I can't believe it's a diesel." I'm like, "Yeah, it's super
I drove
quiet."
a Cayenne diesel in November for a future 1 mile review. So either haven't scheduled it out on an exact date, but late January, early February. If you want to know what it's like to drive a Cayenne diesel for the first time, there will be a review about that. My big thing is, yes, great engine, doesn't sound like a diesel compared to the 80s and 90s, and it does everything a Cayenne will do. The only thing, and I wonder if you think the same thing, is with the diesel, it does everything so well in your daily drive, commuting, road trip, anything that you think when you take it on a back road it's going to be fun. And I haven't driven a Cayenne diesel on a back road, but my Golf, it falls flat. It does everything great, and then you take it on a back road, and it's kind of like,
because it's not revvy.
yeah, just like as soon
Yeah.
as you get into the, want to get on the throttle out of a turn,
Yeah.
it's running out of steam.
Yeah, again, it's the gas model definitely has a bit more scoot to it, and
Yeah.
on the back roads, but
That's interesting. I've never heard about that, but it makes sense though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a very revvy engine, right? So,
Yeah.
and back roads throwing it around.
Well,
I
it does
could-
everything so
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
that you think that a back road, and it takes turns fine. It just
yeah, it
you can't
handles
rev it
really
out.
well. But yeah, it's and we have the flappy paddles as well, but yeah, I mean it doesn't have the response of the gas Cayennes, but
Everything else.
Other than that, it's just, I mean, it's a fantastic.
I like the tech. What's the red line at?
Probably five or six, I think, in that.
Yeah,
that
so
one.
5,500 somewhere in there.
I would just remember the numbers seem to be more spread out.
Yeah.
Because obviously diesels don't rev very high.
And now they're like unicorns. I mean, it's hard to find them. People that have them love them. They don't want to let go of them. And don't they have like a ridiculous warranty now on them too?
Yeah, after they did the recall on them, it's 10 years or 100,000 miles on any of the emission systems.
Great.
Yeah.
The
So
whole powertrain, probably, right?
So for those that don't know, after the whole emissions scandal with these cars, like what was the fix and how did it affect the diesel?
When we bought ours, the fix had already been done. But there's I guess there's an ERG system that recirculates the exhaust. That, as the exhaust comes through, it then gets sent back through and reburnt, so it burns cleaner.
Yeah.
So that is what they had to do, and I believe there was a software update as well that was involved in that.
But you don't know of a performance difference because when you got your car, it was already done.
Yeah, talking to other diesel owners. They said they did notice a little bit of a performance difference when they did the changeover.
Yeah.
But the fact that we didn't drive it before that,
You don't know the difference.
Yeah, we didn't
Better,
know.
yeah.
We didn't know what it was like before. But again, I just love it, and my wife drives it constantly. When we go places, she loves to drive, so I just get to sit back and relax.
And you guys never owned a diesel before
Yeah.
this one?
That is not why you sit back and relax. I have driven with Aaron Ambrosino.
What is that supposed to mean?
There's a
Manny?
reason why his wife drives instead of him. Same reason my wife drives.
I was about to
instead
say,
of me.
what are you talking about? You're always in the passenger seat as well because your wife does not like you driving. Your wife, Aaron, does not like
Aaron,
you driving.
do you say to your wife what I used to say? I used to say to my wife, I am licensed to drive fast, and I would bring out my club racist license and say, "See, this is my license to go fast."
And here's where I will throw down: both of your wives love driving with me
Well, that's because you're slow. So
it's Miss Daisy.
exactly it.
because I'm smooth. There's no rush. I don't honk at people.
You just don't realize how fast you're going because he's so smooth.
I don't yell.
That's it.
I don't yell at every exit when people are trying to get off. You guys are like way too stressed. Where was it that I think when you were going to the New York Auto Show, literally, Manny, your left hand was on the horn the whole time you were driving in New York.
Listen, I don't beat the horn at everyone.
But your hand is hovering. You're like ready to
gotta be
fire
ready to-
at
Well,
any
you have
second.
to when you drive that little car. Even my 914, which I have to keep because people don't see you. Even the light flashing in their mirror saying there's a car next to you isn't enough for people to just start moving into you. So I literally drive every day.
I love
with
you
my
too,
thumb
but
on.
you guys are the worst candidates for road rage. Like we were, and I'll use Manny as another example. We went to like a PCA dinner, and then afterwards we all depart around the same time, and then I see him take off, and I'm going, did that guy just cut Manny off or something? Like, why is he like so driving so aggressive? So I called him later. He's like, no, I was just going home. Like literally, I could see the aggression of his driving, and I wasn't even in the same car.
Yeah.
It wasn't aggression. It was just I go in the left lane and
You saw a gap.
Yeah, I let people know I'm behind them just so
Yeah.
they can be nice and move over.
And just last night with Aaron, we're picking up the other EC members at the airport. We're not in a rush. We're not late for anything. But when you get to the departure curb, there's families hugging and kissing and all that.
The best
and
was-
so I get behind that family and the people we're picking up is like right in front of them. They did take their time, but he about blew a gasket.
Yeah, but wait, no. See, but again, what you do is you leave out important details of the story, right? The problem was they weren't all the way over against the curb.
They were
literally in the middle of the like they're in the third
They're in
lane.
their own special
deserve a
world.
horn.
Like no one else exists.
Right. Situational awareness. We're like, Manny, listen, Manny will attest to this, right? Especially in club racing. It's called situational
Oh,
awareness. You
my
need to know what's
goodness.
going on around you. And that family,
They did it.
that
They
literally
were just
was,
having a hug fest in the middle of the road.
that literally was the center of the universe right there. Everything revolved around that family going on a
I
vacation.
wouldn't walk up to them
Yeah,
and
of
say,
course.
how much does it cost? And they're going to say, how much does what cost? And I would say, to enter your little fantasy world you live in, the one where no one else is around you and you can do anything you want.
Ladies
with no
and gentlemen,
consequences.
this is why their wives don't let them drive when they go places.
The best with Aaron though was when we were in San Francisco.
Oh,
we were in
my
the city of
gosh.
San Francisco. He was driving. His wife Amelia was in the passenger seat.
We were in there like an Impala or something.
And we were egging Aaron on to recreate the bullet chase scene where the cars go airborne, and he was just about to. She's screaming, "Aaron Ambrosino, don't you dare!"
Thank God I came to my senses because the last.
You forgot the lost damage waiver?
No. This was the best. So as we come down the hill, there's the crossroad where you would catch a little bit of air. I came to it, and she started screaming, so I slowed down. As soon as we crest over the road and down the hill,
it's funny
there's
how
a car.
It's funny how he remembers it this way,
right
Manny.
there.
No.
No?
He probably retold that completely inaccurately.
Okay.
So as you go down this road, there's at least 3 or 4 road crossroads. So he has like 4 opportunities. And of course, we're egging him on just so that we can hear Amelia yell at him. Aaron Ambrosino, don't you listen to these two. You do you. And everything, right? So the first little hill, he doesn't. He manages it. And the second hill, he's like, and then by the 4th hill, he's like, I can't take it anymore. Like in his mind, he's like, I'm going to get it from my wife, but I can't take it anymore. So he dips into the throttle just a bit. And as we come over the crest, that's when he does realize there's a car on the other side. And we're going, Aaron Ambrosino, you need to stop.
You were just
So be
telling
careful
me.
what you wish for, my friend.
Yes. So anyways, for me, car stuff, I went to Cars and Poke. Do you know what Poke is?
I do.
Yeah, that's
like
a
a
hipster
raw
thing.
fish
You know what that
Or
is.
tuna, I guess you were saying.
Yeah. So it's it was like a pop-up car meet we had not too far from my house at a poke restaurant, and what's different is it was from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and I have to say the demographics that was there was completely different from the cars and coffee at 8 a.m. and it was still very cool, but it was very different. Definitely a lot younger of a crowd. And I actually didn't take my Porsche. I took my Mustang because I hadn't driven it in a while. And a buddy of mine, he didn't take his Porsche. He took his BMW.
Did they know you were the original owner of this Mustang?
So it's pretty funny. Because there weren't, I think there was only one other Fox body Mustang there. It was like people were pretty amazed at how clean this Fox body is. And so I did get to tell my story. And we looked around, my buddy and I, and he's like, do you realize there isn't a single Porsche here? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. And I felt bad. I was like, man, I should have represented today because there wasn't any. And then he started going into, and this is Paul Gentili, he's like, do you think these kids are actually enthusiasts? And I'm like, of course they're enthusiasts. Look at what they're doing to their cars. They may not be driving or doing things that we would do to our cars, but they're absolute enthusiasts. And he was like, I don't know about that. And here's an example. There's this one kid which probably inherited this Volvo station wagon from his parents. But that Volvo wagon is a rear-wheel drive platform, front engine car. He did an LS swap in a Volvo wagon. Not only was it an LS swap, but he decided to put turbos, plural, on it. And most sane people would put turbos in the fenders, behind the bumper. Nope, he decided to route it so that they're sticking up above the hood. 2 twin turbo LS swap Volvo. He did it himself. The car, as far as aesthetics, looked terrible because
shorter distance from exhaust to the turbocharger and more cooling.
I was gonna say,
What more could you want?
Porsche does that with the Cayenne, right?
Exactly. So I'm like, kudos to this kid because, man, that's awesome. Like to see this younger generation get grease under their nails. I mean, we had everything from Subarus, Supras, the VW crew rolls pretty deep. And there were some rich young kids with like McLarens and Lambos, but I think they are very much enthusiasts. They're just in a kind of stage in their life where they're driving different cars. They can't afford, let's be honest, Porsches to get into this game.
If they're there, they're enthusiasts.
If they're there, they're enthusiasts. Exactly. And I am never one to hate on an enthusiast. We've got so many things. We were talking about this earlier. Live it up. Like, I'm just happy that they're into cars, right?
They're just playing the field until they get into a Porsche, later on.
The thing is, how many times have you gone to a show, right, or even an autocross, and you're in your Porsche, and someone walks up to you and they're like, "Oh, I wish I could be in a Porsche," and you look around, and, like, you see the car they bought is a Lexus whatever or a Subaru that they spent $50,000. Like, they didn't realize that they could have gotten into a Porsche, right?
Yeah. Well, my thing, especially with autocross, is it's you think Porsche and that's a fast car, right? And I think that and myself included, until I got humbled at SCCA events, is that I show up and I think I'm a pretty good driver. I'm in a Porsche. I should do pretty well. And, especially Honda Civics, Miatas and this and that. And actually, I found out those are legitimately fast cars.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
with a good driver, I stand no chance.
Yeah.
So
and it's also the application of it all, right? There's always going to be someone faster you in whatever make car.
Yeah.
But what we know as Porsche enthusiasts is the Porsches do a lot of things well. Mm-hmm. You can do an autocross, you can go to the track, you can go to dinner, and pretty much you don't have to do a whole lot to the car. You could leave it stock and do pretty well at all of it. Some of these cars that you're talking about, like let's say you take a 90s Civic or a Miata. Yeah, some stock cars with good drivers can do well, but most of the ones that are FTD cars are heavily modified, right?
Yeah.
But you can take, I love it when I see stock Porsches, are top 10 at autocrosses, and they might have tires, but that's pretty much it. And then they can go home with air conditioning on and go to the grocery store.
Well, that's a great thing about these open meets, like your Poke Bowl or the Cars and Coffee.
You get to realize Porsche's not the only car.
Well, you get to see enthusiasts. Like not everyone's income level is
exactly,
for a Porsche or a Ferrari or McLaren, but you see people who are bringing the Honda Civics or the VW Golfs or whatnot, but they're proud of it. They've done mods or whatever.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, the car does not make a person interesting. I've seen jerks driving 911 turbos, and I've seen jerks driving Toyota Corollas, and seen cool people doing the same thing. It's the attitude, and the great thing about events like these that I find is that people are more than willing to talk about their ride, and it's no judgment, and it's not even placement. You just park where you park, and that's it.
Yeah, there was one comment that I heard a younger group of kids say that was kind of interesting. They were like, "Why do the older hot rod guys? Why do they park their cars and then open their hood?"
Did you slowly walk over to your Mustang and put the hood down?
That was not me. My hood was not open. Thank you very much. But I'm super excited that there's plenty of enthusiasts out there, and they'll land in our world.
Yep.
All right. So let's see. Would you do anything car related, Damon?
Yeah. If you remember, I think probably a couple podcasts back, I said I was doing the underdrive pulley on my Cayman to put a harmonically damped underdrive pulley to sort of offset what I've done with the light and flywheel. And when I was doing that, I saw that the front main seal, or the crankshaft pulley seal, it's a little bit, you can see a little oil, not really leaking, but just you can see it seeping through. It's a little bit moist.
Oh.
You can see that the seal probably needs to be replaced at some point. Probably good for a little while, longer, but I figure I know it's starting to leak. Why not just take care of it? So I've done seals before on other cars, and basically I thought it would be easy. I knew that it would be tight in there, especially Boxer Cayman. You have probably, I think it's 60 or 70 millimeters of room between the end of the crank and where the firewall starts. And so just not a lot of room. And I realized after taking some pics, and trying to pull the seal out that way, one of the picks broke.
Oh, no.
Fortunately, the piece of the pick I was able to pull outside the engine, wouldn't let it fall in. So I'm kind of just, okay,
my gosh.
I need to take my time,
Yes.
buy the correct tool, because I can't make a mistake on this.
That's where you have to walk away. There's so many times, like, if you're fighting it, you gotta walk away. And I've learned that. I mean, I've worked on cars for a long time, and I used to just pound my head and be, I gotta get this bolt, and you spend 3 hours, nothing. But nowadays, if it takes me more than 10 minutes and it starts fighting me, I drop the tools, go grab a beer, go sit somewhere, let life go by for a little bit, and then I come back and lo and behold, it's like, oh, I got to get this right tool, or oh, I talked to somebody, or because if you drop that inside the engine,
the engine's done.
Oh, I mean, it might not be done, but
you need to rebuild it.
Yeah,
take it apart.
Well, that's pretty much done.
Yeah, but so that didn't happen, and Sunday afternoon or evening, I've left it there. I went and took some measurements. I bought a tool that should do it correct. It's a little bit too long, but I might cut the end of that tool off so it will fit in that area, and then pull the seal out right. And hopefully by the end of this weekend, the car will be up and running again.
There you go.
So that's what I've been doing.
I think we have a video of when I first met Aaron and Amelia, and we were at the New York Auto Show, and we saw this lovely couple checking out this turbo cab. And Manny, look at the microphone. We still had a wired microphone.
This was like the first year or two of us doing videos.
Yeah, and it's we're just trying to capture the essence of the New York Auto Show when Porsche used to display there. And lo and behold, we saw this couple that was interested in this car, but it really was because you've grown up in this world.
For sure, yeah.
So started with your dad. How did he get into PCA?
Yeah, so my dad, back in '66, he and my mom went to the Volkswagen Porsche dealer looking to buy a Volkswagen Fastback. And when he walked in, there was a poster there. It says, if you drive one, you'll buy it. And it was for the new 912 that had just come out. So my dad went ahead and took it for a test drive and bought it. So that's how my dad got started in the Porsche world. So he had a 66, had a 68, and then eventually he had a 74 911. So by the time I came around, I don't remember the 912s, but I remember the 74 911, emerald green metallic.
Ooh.
And that's kind of the car I grew up in the back seat, going everywhere.
Was that his daily? By that time?
By the time I was old enough to realize, what we had, that was kind of his track car, weekend car. But we would certainly go for rides in it on weekends, and whenever we could take it, he would.
Now, was he a DIY kind of guy? Or?
Oh yeah, for sure, sure. Yeah, he's.
So you were passing wrenches and stuff like that.
Yeah,
as a kid?
My dad's father was a mechanic in the Army.
Oh,
so
nice.
My dad learned from him. I learned from my dad. So it's nice to be able to wrench on your own cars. And I too have had that situation where it's like I need to walk away from this because I'm either going to break that bolt or I'm going to snap something, and I just need to leave it.
Yeah.
For a few minutes, and then reassess from how are we going to get this done. And so, but it's because my wife, sometimes you get so aggravated while you're working on the cars. Why do you? I said, well, it's therapeutic to a certain point, right? Relaxing. When everything goes well, it's relaxing. It's enjoyable to work on your own car and understand how things work and know that it's been done and done right. And if something goes wrong, you can't blame the guy, the mechanic that worked on it. It's you. You're the one that did the work. So. But yeah, growing up with my dad and my mom, they were both heavily involved in the club. My dad volunteered for the local region, became region president, did some volunteering for the zone level. Again, heavily involved in DE, became an instructor. My mom DE'd. So growing up, I would always go to the track with my dad, Lime Rock, Watkins Glen. So when you grow up in the club, you meet a lot of great people. When he was president, we would have meetings at our house, and there'd be 6 or 8 Porsches in the driveway, another 6 or 8 out in the street. So you come home from practice and there's all these Porsches around your house. It is just,
I gotta imagine,
super cool.
Even today, let alone back in the 70s and 80s, a Porsche in and around Albany, a collection of Porsches in and around Albany is probably a rare sight.
Yeah, it was.
So I have 3 kids, and I figure it can go one of 2 ways because they're around Porsches and the Porsche things that we do. They could either love it like the way you ended up loving it, or they don't want anything to do with it like I don't want anything to do with boats, right? And my dad had boats. So obviously you took the path of you want to continue this passion for Porsches. Like at what point did you say, it's fun working on dad's stuff, but I want one of my own? Like when did that come about?
Yeah, as a teenager, I'm like, at some point I need to own one of these. The question is, how am I going to get there?
Yeah.
So when I got out of college, my mom said, look, why don't you move home, save some money, and buy a house versus, renting?
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is paying somebody else's mortgage, right?
Exactly.
Which is a great idea.
Yeah.
So I moved home, And after about 4 or 5 years, I had saved up enough money. Unfortunately, I went out and bought a Porsche. Now, Mom was not thrilled.
Oh,
right?
Wait, when did the plan change, Aaron
Exactly.
Ambrosino? We had the plan for a house.
My father was quite proud that
But he can't say that, though.
Right, he
can't say
because
that.
he can't go against my mom.
Yeah.
So it took another couple years before I was able to save up enough to go.
So you're in your 40s. You're living at home.
No, I was out of the house in my 20s. I was out of my house, out of my parents' house in my 20s. But
So how old were you when you got the this is the 87?
I bought the 87, I believe, in 96.
Okay. Wow.
So I was 25 when I bought that car.
Oh, you beat me by 3 years.
Yeah.
Guess how old I was when I bought my first Porsche.
How old?
19.
Wow.
I was 18.
You were 18?
I bought my 81 924.
For those listening, how old were you when you bought your first Porsche, and what did you buy?
I was
Comment below.
30 when I bought my first 911.
Yeah.
Wow.
So mine, just for the record,
But you two
89 944 S2.
But you too, Damon. You grew up around Porsches, right? Like
Yeah.
And so
My uncle's been president of San Diego region 2 or 3 times. My aunt of the same region once.
Yeah.
So it's
So your 87 G body G50 car, stanced out. It's lower than your ride height. It's a good looking car, but that was also like your do everything car, right?
Yeah, it was weekend drive car, DE, autocross.
That's amazing that car did DE because
Yeah.
it looks just concourse.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
well, 10, 15 years ago, D'ing a car like that, no brainer,
Oh no.
right?
Yeah.
But they didn't look like that. They were
Yeah.
like pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beat the
But
hell.
but also like in mid 2000s when you went to a DE, the majority of the cars were cars
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
they were
what
all,
you have,
Yeah.
right? But now when you go to a DE, if you don't have GT in the model designation of your car, you are a speed.
When I
bump.
just started doing it, I showed up my 964, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, you got a 3.6,
Yeah.
and you have ABS brakes." They
Oh,
called
my
them
God.
cheetah brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to the track with my dad when there were no cars on trailers. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
They 8 or 10 guys would get together and caravan
I think
out to the
horses
Glen.
would bring them out, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and that's everybody drove their car,
Yep.
To and from the track.
Put tires on the roof, put tires inside
Oh,
the
yeah.
car.
Yeah, I mean that's that's how
Or
it
you-
all
or
happened.
one guy who had a trailer brought tires to everyone else.
Yes, exactly.
Does that happen? I haven't been to a PCA DE in quite a while. Do people drive their cars pretty often, or is it shifted
oh,
more?
yeah. Oh, yeah,
There's
yeah,
some.
still.
The more advanced
Yeah,
drivers
sure.
are all trailering their cars.
Yeah.
The beginners, the novices, and even some of the intermediates, they'll still drive. Some of them
They're
too.
definitely still driving, but the hardware that they're bringing is like,
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if let's say it's a base model, whatever, it's still so much performance now in the green group or the novice group that you're just going, man, these cars are quick and they've got all sorts of driver's aids. And if you try to bring a G model out there, you just you're pedaling 210 horsepower. You just can't keep up.
That's why
I really can't.
I laugh when someone in the 991 says, "This is really an analog car." I'm like, that's not analog. The 87 show you, even my 964, I'm like, that has power steering and ABS.
Oh, you don't know
But
analog until you drive a G body car. And I let you because Manny and I were battling a lot in the autocross, and he was in his 964. I was in my 87, and we were running neck and neck. And I'm like, you got so much easier. He's like, what are you talking about? We pretty much have the same car. I'm like, no, you have it way easier than I do. And then we switched, and what happened, Manny?
G50s are not the same because I couldn't find gears
He's like,
worth
"What the-"
anything.
he's like,
I'm
"What
like,
the heck?"
this is terrible. I can't find it.
He got out. He's like, how do you even drive
your
this thing?
car is terrible.
Yeah, I know, right? He's like, how do you even drive this thing? I'm like, now you know why I don't go back into first, because he would like come into a corner and say, oh, I put it back in first, and that way it can jump out in the hole. I'm like, dude, no. Like, my engine's worth a lot more. My transmission's worth a lot more than me getting that fraction of a second. But yeah.
Yeah, but the 87 it was popular in driver's ed, but that was a truly analog car in every sense of the word.
Yeah. So back to Aaron. Now that you're president, what the heck are you going to
Well,
do?
hold
with
on a
this car?
second, because
What?
we were hearing a story before, and I went there to tell it because I was fascinated, because he had his father as his driver's ed
Oh,
instructor.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And there
Yeah.
was the things just came through my head. At any point did he say, "It's not possible for you to be my son"?
No, it's
Did he
funny.
say you drive like your mother?
No, and it's funny because I mean, he was my instructor. No matter where we went, he would request that he be my instructor. And not once did we ever have an argument or a disagreement, or did I get yelled at.
Didn't slap you across the face?
No,
or...
no. It was amazing. There was
not
never
while he was driving, at least.
Yeah.
Did you ever say, "Dad, I hate you," or
no,
pull the car over?
No, there was we never had an issue or a problem with him being my instructor.
That's amazing, actually.
So the story was, we were at Watkins Glen, and we were coming down the front straight. And at this time, we had a 79 SC that had, full track suspension, a little bit of engine work done. It was, it was a full-on track car. So we're coming down the front straight.
So this is his car, not yours.
This is his car.
Okay.
So we're coming down the front straight, and I get a pass signal fairly late on the straight. And this was before communicators. So he's yelling to me, "No, no, no." What I hear is "go, go, go."
Oh, no.
So I keep my foot in it. So now brake markers are going by, and I start to get on the binders, and we're not going to make this corner. There's just no way. Well, for those who've driven the Glen, turn one has some banking to it. So I release the brakes, turn the car, the rear end starts to step out. And the one thing I always remember, my father always saying to me, don't lift, don't lift,
Yep.
don't lift. So I slowly squeeze the throttle on, and I'm going to say, thanks to the banking, I was able to catch it and keep on going. So, of course, we come in, and the first thing he says to me, "What are you doing? Why did you make that pass?" He says, "I kept telling you no." I said, "Dad, all I heard was go, go, go." So the next time we didn't use no.
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. That could have ended very differently.
See, my dad would tell me what I was doing wrong when I was driving, but my dad was the worst driver ever. I could not imagine my dad.
I imagine in his head he thought he was the best driver.
I'm sure my dad thought he was the best ever, but oh my gosh.
I would like to tell a story. My daughter and I never got past the driveway. My wife goes, "Drive your daughter because you haven't driven with her yet." I said, "Okay." So she gets in the driver's seat. I get in the passenger seat. And she backed out like she was being chased by the cops. And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, stop." She's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Why are you flying out of the driveway backwards?" She goes, "If this is how it's going to be, I can't drive like this." I'm like, "Well, if you're going to go full throttle out of the driveway, yes." And she got out of the car, and I got out of the car, and we come back inside, and my wife's going, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Drive's over." It lasted 2 car lengths.
I could totally see that happening. So how many of you were nervous driving with your parents in the right seat? Were you nervous?
Well, now?
No,
So
but for a while.
My parents are in the 80s, yes, and I'm nervous as heck.
But nervous that my dad is going to see somebody doing something wrong, lean over, honk the horn, and yell "F you."
Really?
Yeah. That is,
I like your dad.
yeah, no, it was not fun.
Purely for entertainment.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I've done that to Vu before.
Oh, my gosh.
Manny does that to me. I'm like, stay off my horn.
That is my pet peeve. Oh my god! Do not reach over and.
Uh-oh. We know what triggers David now.
Oh yeah.
The next time we're in a rental car.
And you know what happens when you trigger me, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell Jim, I'll go, hit the horn when he's driving.
He loves it.
Oh god.
Oh my.
Don't do it.
So back to my question. Now that you've got the weight of PCA on your shoulders, what are you looking to do with PCA?
I think where we're going to look first is digital. I think PCA has done a great job up to this point with our digital offering, but I think we really need to move forward there. Again, things like the podcast, social media, YouTube, that's where we need to keep
Invest
improving
more.
on what we do and producing more content. It's all about digital content, and that's where we need to be going forward. I think, another area we really need to work at, and we've heard a lot of this from the regions, is volunteerism. Mm-hmm. Regions are having an issue with people volunteering and volunteerism falling off. So how do we get those younger members involved? Because at some point, those members that have been doing it all the time aren't going to be able to do it or aren't going to be there to do it.
Yeah.
So, people show up and say, "It's great, I get here, the autocross is all set up, timing and scoring is ready to go, and I just go drive." Well, at some point, those folks that do that work aren't going to be there for one reason or another. And those folks need to learn that and be able to do that. So one day they're going to show up and there's not going to be anybody there to do it.
Yeah, and this is a perfect time for all of our listeners, viewers. If you haven't volunteered with your region, do so, because that is the only way that PCA works. PCA would not work if we didn't have volunteers. And by the way, it's a lot of fun, because I will say, not most, but I can certainly say all of my friends are through the car world, and many of them are through, activities where I've volunteered and we're doing certain things, and they just people that are doing this are kind of cut from the same cloth, and it's a lot of fun. But like I said, it's the bloodline of PCA. So go out there and volunteer.
And your region is reflective of the volunteers, meaning if you say, well, I don't go out to my region events because all they do is wine and cheese events, then get involved and do the events you want to do. That's literally, everyone knows that, or at least everyone knew that when I became president, one of my things that I wanted to change was Panorama. I just didn't like the way the direction Panorama was going in and whatnot. And so, when I got in there, if I found out in order to change it, I had to make it the president to make the change. But even in my region, we wanted to do like slot car night. We wanted to do a midnight autocross. Well, if you volunteer to do it, odds are they're going to let you do it. It's amazing how if you come up to a region, you say, I want to help run this, or if you guys need any help. I can't imagine the instance where they're going to say no.
Yeah.
They're dying for volunteers.
But here's where I'm going to jump in and say, there are regions out there that have volunteers in place that have been doing it for a long time, right? And their heart is in the right place. But those folks, as much as we want these new people to kind of raise their hand and come forward, the ones that have been volunteering for a long time, you all need to take a step back, right? Like, you need to embrace these younger folks that are, and I'm not just saying people that are in their 20s and 30s, but I'm just saying younger in terms of volunteer time, is let these help cultivate them. Let these people help you. And it's time for you to sit back and relax, because let's be honest, there's a lot of volunteers out there that is their life and they don't want to let go of it. And it's not healthy for the club to have someone volunteer and do the same thing for 30 years.
Yeah, and they need to pass on that knowledge that they've gained for all the years from volunteering. And, again, I think a lot of us here who volunteer for PCA, we do it because somebody did it before us. And if they didn't, I wouldn't have been able to DE or autocross or go on drives and things like that. So, it's about giving back to the club and those new folks coming in. And, that we need to pass that down to the next generation of folks coming to the club, that, it's what drives the club, it's what keeps us active, but you meet such great people.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you volunteer. And it was funny, when I first started DEing, there were no corner workers. You had to go out and flag and be corner workers.
Run and work.
Yeah. So what was funny was I'm at this corner station with this gentleman and his wife. And I don't know if you all have Freihofer cookies down here. No. So they're a brand of cookies up in the upstate New York area.
You can't bring up something like that and not bring us a sample.
Well, I'll bring you a sample next time. Well, come to find out, the guy that I'm working the corner with, he and his brother own Freihofer cookies.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We need to get a podcast sponsor.
Well, they have long since sold the company and moved on. But, it's that kind of stuff that, these people who you just meet by volunteering and doing stuff in the club. And, Amelia, my wife, and I say it all the time, our best friends and the people we hang out with all the time are from the club.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's get into a little bit of Porsche news. And we've got a few going on here. And one that's not, to me, is not something that is a surprise, but it's in the news now, and people are saying it's finally happening, and that's the 911 hybrid.
Oh my God, what a trigger. People get so triggered by this. It's
there will be one, there won't be one, there will be one, there won't be
about how many
there
times,
will be one, period.
The thing I love hearing all the time is thank God, because I'm going to own the last real 911. No. And I go, what do you own? And they're like, I own a 992 such and such. And I'm like, really? Because I thought I had the last real 911, the 964.
No, I have the real.
Every generation has the last real 911.
Yeah.
And guess what? I ask people, I go, have you ever driven a hybrid 911? And they're like, they look at me and go, no. And I said, well, I have. I've driven an aftermarket car, the Vonnen. And I said, you will be blown away by what a hybrid can do with having that much extra horsepower. I said, Porsche does not build slower cars. They don't build less fun cars.
Yep.
Wait to see what happens. Since when has Porsche let us down? And everyone's going, oh, it's going to be a heavy car. Oh, this, that, and the other. I'm excited about it. We kind of knew about this back at Rennsport, the last Rennsport almost 5 years ago, because they made a mention, they let us slip, or about the fact that the car, the 992 coming out didn't have exactly all the room to make put a hybrid in there, and they detailed what they had to change. So it seems like the next generation of the 992 or maybe 99, whatever they're going to call it, will have the room.
Well, the current generation 992, the PDK transmission was designed to house a hybrid system. So it's whether
That's what I'm saying.
do they want to do it or do they not want to do it.
It's not surprising to me, right? But it's in the news. It's going to happen. Regulations are forcing this out. Regardless of whether or not you think it's the right thing to do, for the company to be able to continue to make sports cars, make the 911, they've got to adapt. Right?
It's still a gas engine.
Still a gas
engine. You just have basically EV boost.
Yeah.
It works in Formula One.
Yeah. So I'm excited to, the technology of the Vonnen system that you drove, Manny, was pretty cool because it's not even a battery pack. It was like a capacitor that had this electrified flywheel that they replaced the flywheel in the system with this electronic version and the added power to your powertrain with really not changing anything else. So doing what, hot rodders did with, say, nitrous or methanol or whatever, just imagine, even if you did it on a very conservative method and added 50 or 60 horsepower at the flywheel in addition to your 210 horsepower G-body car, and now all of a sudden it's 260, 275 horsepower. Same weight, that's pretty cool.
No turbo lag.
Nothing. Now, the Vonnen system, because they don't have the economies of scale. I think that was
it's like $75,000.
$75,000. But guess what? Porsche and other automotive makers are going to have this economy of scale. They're going to dial into this technology, and I'm excited.
Yeah, same here.
All right, the next one,
the only thing real quick for that. There's been video of this car that was spied on the Nürburgring. I couldn't find how they knew this was a hybrid though. What the giveaway?
There's a sticker.
Oh, is that what it was? I didn't see anywhere.
I'm pretty sure. Well, I haven't looked at the picture. If you have an electrified system on your car, like on the, you have to have. So when the emergency crew comes out, they know that.
All right, I was looking at the body work and everything, and I'm like, how did they know this is the hybrid? And it sounds no different than it sounds like a regular.
It's a safety measure for the crew.
Yeah, they didn't say anything on the article. It was just assumed that I was like, there's something I'm missing here. Yeah. That's good to know.
All right, so the next article has to do with, we've been posting a lot on our Instagram page about the car rally, and it's been very popular, so popular that they're thinking about taking it.
Yeah, Oliver Bloom in a recent interview said there's more coming. So for people who thought this may have been just a experiment or a phase, evidently.
I had a feeling this would be like the 911R, right? And then, which I wouldn't say morphed into the Touring, but inspired the GT3 Touring. This is like the same thing. They had their limited edition 911 Dakar. Now they're going to offer it as a package, it sounds like.
They'll sell every single one of them.
Oh, yeah.
For all those people who are complaining that only 2,500, well, here's your chance.
There you go. Now this next, so we have a run of show sheet that we work off, and Manny picks the news, and I usually scan them, and I usually click on them to prepare. And the only thing I could focus in on this third link was the fact that it says OnlyFans.
Oh, it's a new sponsor for this race at Dubai, and I know because we were talking about getting a PCA OnlyFans to raise money for podcast equipment. Since we have the president next to us, if we can just raise our budget, we won't have to create our own OnlyFans. But I'm ready to take my clothes off.
So oh my god. So have I confessed live of my first experience
with OnlyFans?
With OnlyFans to
no.
you guys? So
are you sure you want to? Are you sure?
Robert right now is on that edit button.
Yeah. So it is actually quite funny. So we were out on let me see how I tell this. Aaron, this is where it goes. It goes where it goes. And so we're on a boat trip with my buddy. It's his bachelor party trip, and I arranged to go not deep sea fishing, but just out to the bay to go fishing, right? And so when you're going out there, it's kind of a long ride, and you just kind of strike up conversation with the captain and then I don't know what you call the person that helps with the fish, whatever.
First mate.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever. So we started talking, and we talk about Porsches or we talk about cars. He's like, yeah, my neighbor, I don't know, he has all these fancy cars, but it's because of they have an OnlyFans account. I'm like, oh, sweet. And in my mind, fans, like, I'm thinking maybe they're very good at sports betting. Like, I had no idea. So I'm, oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, maybe they're just luckier. They're, well versed in da-da-da-da.
What's her name? I'll look them up.
No, I didn't get to there. And then all my friends started laughing at me, and they're going, you don't know what OnlyFans is, do you? I'm like, what? It's just sport betting, right? And they're like, no. So we'll stop the story there. I do understand what it is now, which is why I hesitated on clicking this link that Manny provided. But it is a legit sponsor for
being at the 24 hours to Dubai.
24 hours at Dubai. So, anyways, videos. 996 water pump.
Yes, so Panorama editor Rob Sass decided when his water pump started leaking that he would replace it himself.
Well, actually, he wanted Damon. He wanted to pay Damon to switch it over.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I was going to be nice and not mention that part.
And I said, hey, that would be good content. Why don't we have someone who really isn't mechanical do it, and we'll guide you.
He initially wanted you to do it?
Oh, yeah.
He was going to pay me, like, I don't know, $100 or something. I don't know.
Oh, my gosh. Mr. Sass,
So I said, I shamed him into do it yourself. And, well...
we saw how that turned out.
Basically, everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Oh my!
Much like people experience when they're doing their own DIY for the first time.
Yeah,
and
it's funny if you're watching YouTube that there was just a scene where Rob is taking a hose off to drain the coolant, which I had instructed him to do, and then there's a green circle around a little port that you're actually supposed to use to drain the coolant. Which, when we ran this by our tech expert. He pointed that out. Hey, it's much easier and cleaner just to use that port, and I'm, dough.
But here's the thing. Like the whole idea of this video, and kudos to Manny, was we see a lot of DIY videos that seems to go like Martha Stewart, like smooth, like everything. You have all the tools, you have everything comes apart nicely, and Manny goes, let's do a video where like. In the reality, the real world of doing a water pump on a car that has hundreds of thousands of miles, and let's show them what it looks like on the
with the guy who doesn't really wrench.
Right. So we get Mr. Sass, who's wearing his cashmere sweater, and
who thought this was going to be a quick 2-hour job.
Yeah, and it is if you're working on like a F-150 and you have all sorts.
Or you
of
do this on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Sure, you can do. Exactly like Damon said where to drain the fluid from. But we quickly found out this was not going to be a one-day job.
Gosh. Yeah.
And it wasn't the water pump, and it was just it's just an old car, and other things started to break.
When he broke the oil filler tube.
Oh my gosh!
Which we had just been talking about what a pain it is to replace that,
and then boom.
Then we heard this cussing so much so that the girls and member services came in because they thought either someone got hurt or got killed because how much screaming there was.
We could probably make an amazing B-roll of him just cursing. Like that probably would be a viral video.
I didn't have my camera rolling for that whole time.
He would have put Chevy Chase and Christmas Vacation to shame.
But I think we accomplished what we set out to do because we gave a realistic portrayal of replacing a water pump in a 996. And people watched it and they go, you know what? I'm a DIY person, but after watching this, I think I'm going to.
They had any hesitation. We kind of like cemented. Maybe you pay a little bit more and just get your technician. And there's some people that can do it themselves,
right?
And that's fine. Like somebody said, hey, just make sure that you said this before. Make sure it's not your primary car. Give yourself time. If it's going to take a couple weekends, then it take a couple weekends.
If everything went right for a novice, you could probably do that as a novice.
A weekend.
In a day, if nothing goes wrong, but things always go wrong.
I was about to say, there's no way you can do it in a day.
I told Bill, I said, everything I see on YouTube that I tried never seems to go smooth. There's always like a hiccup or something. But you watch YouTube, and 7 minutes later, it's fixed. And you're thinking, well, this is pretty easy. I can do this. And then you quickly find out that they probably pre-loosened some nuts on before the video went. They did all this stuff prior to the video. And they made it look easy.
And it's really cool. And again, thank you all, one, for watching it, subscribing, but the comments that you provided Some of you said, thanks for showing it to me. Now I'm going to let someone else do it. Others now know, okay, I'm going to set aside a weekend to do it. But what I really love is those of you that kind of watch the details of, oh, I can't believe Mr. Sassel's wearing a cashmere sweater doing this. Or, oh, look at
Damon looked like he cut his finger.
Yeah,
pretty
Damon
good.
cut his finger. Look at the bandage that he has on there.
I feel like I almost cut my finger. That was bad.
It
Wear
was
gloves. Do not pull on metals.
Wear
metal
gloves.
gaskets.
Wear eye protection. That video illustrates why you need to do
And the
all
scary
that.
thing is we had a lift.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lift here at the office, so I can't imagine if we were just on ramps or something.
Yeah.
Quick Jacks, and I did all this on my Cayman on Quick Jacks makes it almost as easy as a lift as long as you're fairly limber. So if you have a bad back, Quick Jacks aren't going to work.
Well, with quick
And
tracks,
I got to take yoga
it
before I
makes
work on my
it
car.
easier
Yeah.
to get underneath. But the problem is you got to lay down, get up, lay down,
Yeah,
get up, lay down,
exactly.
get up, because you're like, oh, I forgot the socket over here, or I need the ratchet over here, or
Yeah.
I got to go get the it's
And then we got to see what previous owners had done to the car.
oh
So
yes we
it
did.
was it's typical. Like Damon said, he did a car with a lot of mileage on it. This is what you're going to go up against.
Yeah.
Well used. The previous owner definitely enjoyed that car. Drove it everywhere.
Yep.
So
So speaking of driving, you drove, Manny, a pretty amazing car on Angela's Crest.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a car that really has no faults. The GTS, the 991.
What do you say, guaranteed to sell?
That's how I would call it GTS, guaranteed to sell, because it's like the perfect car. If you don't want a GT3 or turbo, full turbo, GTS is a great car to pick. And I think even the last Tech Tactics Live we did, Meg Maurer said that's also a car that.
I think it's
very
right
well.
on the spot. It's like what's the Porsche, not too hot, not too cold, right in the middle. 450 horsepower, good grip. All the modern conveniences.
there's
sounds
a
good.
thing on YouTube car channels that everybody says it's the sweet spot.
Is it?
Yeah,
They say that. Yeah, I mean, because
I
it
think
really
Throttle
is.
House or the Straight Pipes, they made a little collage of that of all sorts of YouTubers.
Yeah.
It's the sweet
saying
spot,
the
but it
Goldilocks,
is.
It is.
It's the
It
Goldilocks.
is.
It's a sweet spot.
It
You
is.
can't
Yeah,
describe it any other way.
I think it's the best bang for the buck.
Yeah.
For what you get and what you pay for.
But it's not the last real 911. There's a difference.
No, agreed.
There's a
Agreed.
difference.
Yep.
All right, so let's catch up on some upcoming events. Tech Tactics Live, January 11th. We're going to be talking about, well, here's what happened. As of this recording earlier this week, Spring Treffin Georgia Mountain sold out in less than 5 minutes. And if you've been listening to...
Well, 5 minutes and 44 seconds.
Yeah. If you've been listening to our podcast, we've told you this. We've told you if you wanted to go to Treffin, what you needed to do. And we're going to expand on that a little bit further January 11th with Tech Tactics Live. Not technically a technical show, but we're going to talk to you about all the upcoming PCA events in 2023 and give you some, as Manny likes to call it, pro tips on what you need to do. One, to get yourself there, prepare yourself. If you're bringing a car, what to do. We're going to give you some
Instead of
insights.
spending a couple of years learning the secrets to enjoying these events and registering, we're going to tell you the secrets. And so when you go for your first time, you're already ahead of the game. And I got to say this about Treffin, because it's always fun watching registration online. And Robert Forsythe does a great job of preparing it. In fact, the whole team, I saw them the day before. They were testing the registration system. Even though they've used it before, they test everything out. They have multiple people running it. They put stress on the system to make sure it can handle a bunch of people loading in at once. And then people were on the site 3 hours before.
Oh, yeah.
Because Robert created a link so we could all look to see, the people that were, how many people were, and where they were looking at the website from. And so, yeah, and unfortunately, there were some people that didn't take our advice or take anyone's advice to look at the website ahead of time and know what you want to choose as far as tours, and had logged in right at the time the website opened, but we're still reading about the tours, and it's sold out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think what happened, so with Treffins, we have 2 per year, and they're always, each one takes place in a different part of the U.S. or Canada.
They're all bucket list destinations.
All bucket list destinations, and however, some bucket list destinations might be more popular, and I think it was Treffin in the Carolinas what was it, Asheville.
Asheville.
Sold out in, I think, less than 5 minutes. And some of the other Treffens afterwards, it took a little longer, maybe half an hour or a day. And, so we haven't had that quick sellout. Maybe members got a little bit complacent thinking about that. But Treffen, if it's in a place that's really busy, like Peach State region, it's just going to sell out so quickly.
That's a big Porsche market is Atlanta, and the region's big. And so, we were expecting a lot from there. And you just can't. We just can't take everyone who wants to register because it would be a terrible experience, especially with tours. And I always like to use the Disney World analogy. At Disney World and Disneyland shut their doors
when they get to a certain capacity.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise, the only memory people have is riding 2 rides all day and waiting in line 9 hours.
Yeah,
so,
and I understand people get upset, just like concert tickets, right? Everybody wants to go to some popular singer or performers, and they sell out. Well, the charm of Treffen is its size. The charm of the destinations that we go, capacities of these hotels will only hold so much. So we can only have an event of this size. And people say, "Oh, why don't you just add more rooms, add more hotels?" And guess what? It becomes a parade. And this is not a parade. It really, the charm of it is its size and where we go with it. And we have limited space. So I apologize on behalf of PCA if you didn't get in, but don't hate on us for it. It's a very, very popular program.
And we do have a wait list, so
we do have a wait list. And if you follow, like I said, the insider tips that we give you, you'll get in. You'll definitely
always expect it to sell out within 5 minutes, even if it doesn't. That's how you should go into trying to register. You should go into
it thinking it's going to sell out in a minute. I mean, that way, if you really, really want to get into it.
Another way to raise money, Aaron, is using the Southwest boarding, charge extra.
Early bird access.
Oh, no. Gosh.
All right, so also coming up in January 28th through the 29th, hopefully some of you guys will go for some sunshine down at the 24 Hours at Daytona and get to see some exciting cars.
Yeah, go to that
track.
PCA hospitality tent. I had someone say, "Does PCA do anything down at the Rolex 24?"
Yeah, we do.
I said, "Is this the first time we're going?" He said, "Yes." I'm like, "Yes, we do.
You're gonna be blown away.
You can't miss our tent." I said, "I just follow the infield and look for the flags."
Which turn is it again? Turn 4, turn 5?
I call it the kink because it's
kink,
straight inside the infield where there's a slight kink, and
you can't miss us. We have 200 and some Porsches.
We have flags everywhere,
right trackside,
and we stand up.
Yep. Registration for Works Reunion has already opened. The judge area is full. We're more than halfway sold out for the corral, so make sure you jump on that. Let's see, Tech Tactics East registration is opening soon. It's going to open January 18th. The event is actually February 18th and February 19th. You just need to register for one of the days.
And keep on listening because we're planning to do at least one of the seminars live. Probably on Saturday. We're going to record a lot more and release them throughout the season because a lot of people can't make Tech Tactics, but want to hear what the seminars were about.
So here's your advance warning. We haven't had this event in Easton for over 2 years. There's only 125 slots a day. It will sell out. So if you want to go, watch the time of when it opens on January 18th. Make sure you log on exactly on.
And they're a diehard bunch because last time I don't know, were you there? I think you were there when it snowed.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I thought everyone was going to rush out to the parking lot and go home because there was a lot of Porsches in the parking lot.
It was like
and
6 inches.
Everyone stayed. No one left.
Yep. So with that, thank you all for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and you own a Porsche, grab that VIN, head to PCA.org. We'll set you up with membership. If you don't own a Porsche, of course, we have the test drive program. Remember to follow us on the podcast Instagram page, behind the scenes videos, Porsche Club Insider, all one word. You can also send us a message at podcast@pca.org.
And final word to Aaron, good luck as president. You're going to have a great time. And when things get really rough, remember what I used to always say, it's just a car club.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to it.
And I thought it would be appropriate to close out today's podcast with a lap with Ken Block and the Hoona Piggins.